Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome to Dose of Truth Tarot with me, Terry Ann Nikitas, and I'm here to talk about what's our money luck this week. Let's see where we can find some luck. I'm just going to do this randomly. The first one is going to tell us a little bit about, let's say, what is our potential or what could possibly be blocking us. So our potential is the open heart. So if you recall, last week we did a lot with love in the universe, and this is talking about full cups, full on um, emotional bounty, as well as the fluidity of water, etc. So we can rely on that. We can lean on that a little bit, right? So the potential is there for, it says, for each and every one of us. So let's look at what is it that we might fall upon, let's say. And here it says, oh, right. So where we could fall upon difficulty in the present is fire, and our fire in confusion. That would just tell us, okay, this is a week to make sure that your emotional world remains very, very stable. When those emotions are stable, then they don't get too burnt out. So how do we do that? Well, one is, using some breathing techniques to make sure there's enough oxygen that would clear out any type of blockage. So breathing, remaining calm when we feel like there's too much going on. Stop, take a breath. Don't get all fired up. Don't get all, thrown out of whack. Okay. So there's no mind so far in these cards. So where would our luck lie? Our luck lies in calm, right? So if we want, like somebody, let's say somebody's making investments, that you really, really need to be calm. If you start feeling any type of tension or contraction, a lot of people that I've worked with, and they want to know how their finances are going. Very often, it's usually because everything gets contracted and they do risky things. So your luck would be in being as calm as possible and being receptive, because money can come in from anywhere, right? And our last card, oh, there's one that's flipped over here. That's the abundance card. So we are going to keep that because it's remained flipped over. It's trying to tell us something. So it continues to tell us, well, there's definitely abundance in the universe. We've got two cards that tell us there's a lot to go around. So where the luck comes is surprises. So the Page of Pentacles says, okay, we've got surprises coming in, but we need to realize where those surprises are. Sometimes someone helps you out by giving you a gift or giving you something that you need. I remember many years ago I was teaching this little class, on how to be open to receiving by, and also asking the universe for what you want. So the Page of Pentacles is messages, so you can speak that out loud, especially since it's a pentacle. That's solid and earthly. So you do need to be calm, ask clearly for what you want. And I remember this one woman said, I haven't got any money and I need a vacuum cleaner really badly. I said, ask for one. Just ask clearly without any thought of how you're going to get it. And she goes, but I don't have enough money. I said, do not put any expectations or thoughts of how you'll get the vacuum cleaner. So she said, okay, I get it. And I said, just ask for it and live as though you have it. Well, what do you think happened? She went home, and on her way home, there was a gentleman coming out of his home with a vacuum cleaner, and she saw it and she said, does that vacuum cleaner work? He goes, yes, we just got a new one because, it doesn't pick up enough dog hair, but it works very well. And he said, please take it. And she had a new vacuum cleaner, like within the hour. Obviously, her intention was very clear. So, this is where our luck is. Just start asking very clearly. Make sure it's clear, a clear statement. Make sure you state it out loud. Make sure you have no expectations around it, like how you think it's going to come. A lot of people I've seen do this work and they say, oh, I asked the universe to bring me, a new sofa. And I've just been wondering how it's going to come. And I said, well, you've ruined it. You ask for a new sofa, live as though you have it. And that way you won't be asking things like, how is it going to come? Because the universe is going to answer that. It's going to tell you, well, how's it going to come? Well, that's how you're going to sit around. You're going to sit around thinking about how it's going to come. So very, very clearly. So we got a few places for luck. One is, I would have said right here, if your heart is open, you're going to receive. But then our next card said, well, we tend to get a little heated, nervous, anxious, and that fire starts to eat up the water. And then it says, well, to counteract that, calm yourself, sit in a room, best to be by yourself, all by yourself, and state out loud exactly what you want clearly, and then live as though you have it. If it's really big, like let's say you're a person like me, just your average Joe kind of person, and I sit down in a room and I say, "Universe, bring me $10 million." Yeah, it could happen that you win the lotto or something happens, but it's less likely. So determining it doesn't mean it's never going to happen. If I ask for it clearly and believe it's going to happen, sure. But somehow we have to also take into account the parts of us that don't believe. So you can counteract that. Like you could be totally different from me. If I say bring me $10 million, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to win the lotto or something for that to happen. So I cancel it out. But remember, if something in you doesn't believe it, and there are things within us that don't believe it, number one. Number two, there's another factor that's really big. Asking for something that is not synchronistically timed, which could be the same. We could refer to asking for $10 million in the same way. Like if somebody who's got $10 million already and is saying, I want my 10 million to become 20 million, likely it's going to happen because that's easy to see happening if they've got big investments. They could lose it as well, but if they're asking for it and they're clear on it and they're cool, calm, and collected, likely they're going to do the right investments and be able to make that $10 million. Now, for like I was saying, the common Joe like me, I'm not going to see exactly how that's going to happen in a short period of time. I'm trying to bring so many things in as I'm talking. Sorry, but it's also the amount of time. It doesn't mean that in 20 years or 10 years or 5 years, that doesn't happen somewhere along the line. It could, but somehow the universe has to bring things together. This is in this case, it's the card that's temperance, right? So the in the tarot deck and the major arcana, we have a card called temperance, which means everything in its own place. So let's say I'm doing a reading for someone and they're asking me whether they're going to get a particular job or not. I remember this gal. She wanted this particular job. It was her dream job. And, I put the cards out and I'm like, absolutely, you are getting this job. And then I went, oh, but you're not going to like it. She got a little bit mad at me. And sometimes I blurt things out a little too quickly. As you notice, I'm speaking so quickly. So there's so much going on that I'm intuiting and I'm trying to get out, and then I have to organize it. But sometimes I blurt things out too early. So when you think about she thought about it. She was a little bit angry with me. She was saying, no way, it's my dream job, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, 3 months later, she comes back and she says, yeah, I got the job, but I'm totally dissatisfied. And she's like, how did you figure out that I'd be dissatisfied? I'm like, I didn't figure anything out. It's just written there. It's intuitive. It's like uh, but you could also understand the human psyche. We can expect something to be so, so great and so, so wonderful. The expectations outlive the reality or outshine, excuse me, the reality. So those are things that also um, happen very often in our lives, where we have this massive expectation of what something is, and then we get there and it doesn't really work out. Now, my point to all of that is, if we're looking at um, manifesting something, there is this thing called synchronicity. I use the temperance card as synchronicity very often because um, it'll say, let's say, be temperate, be middle of the road. So, when your job arrives, that's why I brought up this woman, is like, when your job arrives, you'll have it, but you will only get your job when the other person leaves. You can't have someone be booted out to get your job. So one of the things that, I think is a quite famous story, but um, this woman, type of story is quite famous, is what I mean. Uh, where somebody asks for something, let's say a house. So there was this gal that kept asking for a particular house on a block that she loved. She's like, I want that house. I want that house. And this is all about expectation and, manifesting. And finally, the house comes up for sale. But it comes up for sale because the person who lived in that house died suddenly. And of course, the woman no longer wanted the house. She was like, oh my God, what have I done? I don't know if she's done anything, but the expectation of wanting that thing. So it's really leaving it open. Like, tell, if you want a house, instead of saying that house or that thing, tell the universe to bring you the best that is for you. You may have to say no to a couple. Like, let's say you are looking for a house and you see 15 different houses that you can afford, but they're not quite what you want. Well, you could say no, because the universe will bring you lots of things until you find the one that is your right price. It's, proper. It's good for you. So this is all based in this card here, the page of coins. This is where material things can come to you. When you have an open heart, when you're calm, when you're all disturbed, you could miss that. So the cards are telling you, hey, your money luck this week is really involved in, there's abundance everywhere, there's availability, there are signs around you. But if you remain in this position where you're, all confused and fire's got you, well, you probably miss the message, because this is only a message. It could be a gift, but you could still look a gift horse in the mouth, couldn't you? Right? Sometimes we see something and we go, no, no, no. So I'll tell you that story that everyone's heard, I'm sure, over and over again, but it's very apt here. There's a man and he's fallen into a river, and he's going down the river and he's praying to God to save his life. And a tree branch comes out through the side of the river, and he sees the branch, and someone says, grab the branch, grab the branch. And he says, no, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And he keeps going and he's praying, and a little rowboat comes by. And the man says, get in the rowboat. He says, no, 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 I'm praying to God. I'm waiting for God to save me. And then finally, he's about to go over the waterfall, and a helicopter comes and says, come on, get in. And he says, no, 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 I'm waiting for God to save me. And I'm sure you all know what happens. He dies, goes to heaven. He says to God, I was waiting for you to save me. He said, I sent you a branch, I sent you a boat and a helicopter. What else did you want? Right? So these are things that are really important when you see this page of coins. Be open. If you're contracted, especially if you're in trouble this week, like let's say you have a shortage of money and you're in trouble, the more you panic, the more you're going to miss the opportunities. If you just relax and start looking around, you might notice where all those opportunities are. So there you go. Let me know how you fare, if you feel like sharing whatever happened to you this week. And please share this video, and subscribe so we can get more viewers and maybe even get this video, well, my videos monetized so I can bring you more tarot. So thank you so much. Have a great week and see you all next week.